2, 1. Hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome to the Capital Gains Tax Solutions podcast, where we believe most high net worth individuals and those who help them, they struggle with clarifying their capital gains tax deferral options. Not having a clear plan is the enemy. Using a proven tax deferral strategy, such as the Deferred Sales Trust, is an amazing way for you to exit highly appreciated cryptocurrency, business, real estate, save a failed 1031 exchange, so you can create and preserve more wealth, defer millions of tax, and invest with some amazing people that we're going to, such as perhaps this guy we're going to have on our show here. In fact, he is an expert in commercial real estate and building wealth through build to rent, and he helps busy people earn passive income through commercial real estate investing. We're only talking about why invest in build to rent. And for those who don't know me, by the way, my name is Brett Swartz, and I'm founder of Capital Gains Tax Solutions. We're also a stream on Expert CRE Secrets podcast, where each week we bring on some of the best real estate, business, and financial, crypto, and real estate minds in the world, where they share their ideas and deal stories. So together we can make passive income plans achievable, and also capital gains tax, exit plans understandable and digestible, so that you can create and preserve more wealth, or help your clients, friends, and families do the same. And so please welcome to the show with me, Mr. Flint Jameson. Flint, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well. Glad to be here, Brett.
Yeah, absolutely. And for our listeners getting to know you for the first time, would you give us a little bit more about your story and your current focus?
Yeah, background. I'm an engineer. I spent now almost 20 years in aerospace designing aircraft. Now I'm a program manager, actually. But I got started in real estate in 2018. I bought a duplex, a very, very distressed duplex, renovated it, kept it, held it for a while, sold it earlier this year before the market crashed. So I magically timed that one well. But back in 2019, I shifted to syndications and got into commercial real estate, and I've never looked back.
Amazing. We're going to dive into all of those parts of this conversation. We're going to weave in why invest in build to rent real estate. And by the way, you're out of Denver, Colorado. Is that true, Flint?
That is correct.
Very cool. But before we go there, Flint, I believe we've all been given certain gifts in this life, and these gifts have been given us to be a blessing and help to others. Once you go back to your high school days or earlier days, what strengths or gifts that you believe you were given, and how do those gifts help how you help people today?
Oh man. I've been an introvert my whole life. And at some point in the early 2000s, I came out of my shell, and I managed to learn how to be a good leader. There was a natural talent there, and being a leader means interacting well with people. And that naturally led to networking with people and educating. So I think through that long stream, I found myself being an educator, especially in the real estate investment world, because this isn't a sales thing. This is more of educating people to get their money diversified. And most people don't know how to get into real estate.
Excellent. So leadership led to networking, led to becoming an educator. Perfect. That's a great strength to have, and a cool part of what we're going to talk about today, which is investing for cash flow and strong returns, and using build to rent kind of model. So let's talk about that. What's the number one secret to investing in build to rent and in commercial real estate that you found so far?
Yeah. So let's unpack this. Let's rewind this train a little bit. I got started in multifamily and apartment buildings, and largely what we do is we buy underperforming or distressed apartment buildings, and we flip them. Kind of like you flip a house. It's a value add scenario. When you flip a house, you sell it a little bit later for more money. Well, what we do in apartment buildings is we flip it over multiple years. We keep occupancy high, right? We'll do maybe 10 units at a time renovation, then put new tenants in at higher rents and keep churning. But the cool thing for the investors is there's a lot of cash flow that continues to flow while we're doing the renovations, and the cash flow gets better and better. Now, flip that into new development. You don't get the cash flow, there's no occupants. Investors get in when we cut dirt. You can get in with, from a purchasing standpoint, purchasing land, you get in with this big loan, builder's loan, that you only pay interest on as you draw it. So then we cut dirt, we put roads, we put utilities in, and then we turn around and we start building the homes. We call it horizontal multifamily. So we'll build these small starter homes, we call them, like 1,000 square foot, 1,500 square foot, 2-bed, 3-bed. Rather than living in an apartment, you're living in a small home. We have property management, on-site maintenance, all the amenities. It's like a really nice Class A apartment complex, but we're building it with single family homes. So out of all of this, you create this community that is worth a ton of money, and you bought in for very little because, for one, you bought a piece of land and then you turned it into roads and sidewalks and utilities, and then you turn it into these single families. As we build these single family homes, say we do 10 at a time, we start filling 10 at a time, then we work on the next 10. The cash flow starts flowing from there. But you can imagine we buy a piece of land. I'm just going to use made up numbers, buy a piece of land for $1 million. We put 10 million into it to build houses, and it sells for 30 million. So the growth on your money is quite large. And there's a little bit of cash flow. It just takes a little while to get there.
Okay, cool. Let me unpack a little bit of that. So maybe most traditional value add real estate, you buy an existing building, you rehab it, and you get cash flow along the way, and then you sell it for a profit. And your model is or you're just building single family homes by themselves. Your model is more like, hey, buy a big, huge piece of land and let's build
150 units, say
150 homes, right? Individual homes,
yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But they're detached, 1,000 square feet, 2 to 3 bedroom units. Takes a little while to get it going, right? Because you have to, develop the land. But you're all in for about 11 million, let's just say, on 150 homes, and you're selling it for around the entire project for 30 million. Is that a fair summary?
Yeah, those are made up numbers, but yes, really what we look at it as, at sale, once we finish off the property, we call it stabilized. All the houses are built, the land's developed, pool's built. We can turn around and sell it to one of the big institutional buyers like BlackRock, or there's a lot of money out there looking to build or looking to buy, and they aren't builders.
And they're also looking to buy in scale, or they're not looking to buy single family one-offs, right? I mean, they did maybe when all the foreclosures were happening 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, right? But now they ideally will scale it out, and so you guys are doing that hybrid where you're brand new, they're all renting it out, right? They can get good financing on it. Is it all one parcel? All
it is.
Yeah.
But I guess each property or each deal could be different. I'm sure I know some guys that are doing like 600 homes on a build to rent. That could be multiple parcels, but what we're doing now is a single parcel.
Yeah, I like the model. It's really fascinating. Do you mind if I just kind of peel back the onion a little bit on the numbers?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. So what's the average cost to build a house, or do you want to, you can even say 100 houses on one parcel, because I know it's.
Yeah, you're not okay. I'm not prepared for these numbers. We have the full underwriting. Unfortunately, I don't have that memorized. I wasn't prepared to go this deep into it. But to give you a sense of the building process, rather than unpack the cost of each house on its own, we can shake this out in multiple ways to build as fast as possible, because that is the goal, is to build and populate. So we can do prefabbed homes. The cost of prefabbed homes is significantly more than doing stick build, but you're offset by the amount of labor it takes to do just a stick build. So you come in, you got a bunch of walls, you slap those together, and the thing goes up and so quickly that you're saving time on that labor. Plus, we want to get those things built as fast as possible to get renters in them and start cash flowing.
Got it. Okay, so first thing is prehab versus stick build. Yeah, you might say, you can maybe be cheaper stick build, but it's going to take more time, and our cost of capital and our burn rate with the loan from from the banks or whatever else, we want speed rather than lower cost on that piece of it, right?
Yeah. So there is a trade-off there in the underwriting, but and depending on who can do prefab and what those costs are, we will choose as we go, because you do want that prefab homes to not, I mean, if you're building in Alabama, you don't want to ship them from California, because then you're getting hurt some more. So then at that point, it might be cheaper to stick build. So there's so many different ways to underwrite and make the smart decision.
Okay, where are you building it?
So we're doing in Foley, Alabama right now. We have 158 homes planned. We could put more on that parcel, but we'd rather have some open space, some walking trails, a little pond, and a pool.
Let's walk through that deal. What did you buy the land for?
Hey, it is, I don't have those numbers. I'm sorry.
Maybe do a pass.
I'm not. So here's the thing. I'm the capital raiser. I go in. We have the builder, and here's where we buy down risk. Our builder goes in and purchases the land. They buy the land. They do all the entitlements. They get all the environmentals done. They do the engineering. They go to the municipality, get all the votes approved. That's where all the risk is, or a majority of the risk is when you're doing new dev. So our builder paid for all of that up front. Where we come in as syndicators, we come in at the horizontal where we're starting to cut dirt. So me as a capital raiser, I'm bringing funds to the deal. Yes, I've seen the underwriting. Yes, I've talked to the builders. I have not memorized all the numbers. I apologize, but I come in with these trusted source, people I know, like, and trust. They've done many communities. That's what they specialize in. They are partnering with us to adapt their new development neighborhoods that they classically build and turn it into a build to rent with us syndicators. Yep. So that's where we come in. We come in when we start cutting dirt, and all of those, it becomes permit ready at that point when investors.
Fair enough. That's cool. Now, maybe you can talk about like how you guys have done in the past, right? So, like, an average investor puts $100,000 in. It takes 2, 3, 4, 5 years, however long it takes.
So the plan on this particular deal is we're underwriting it conservatively to 5 years.
Okay.
And this is like a 2.25, double your money, 2.25 multiple on your money if minimum investment is $50K. Now, what we anticipate, because we do conservatively underwrite, is there are so many different exit plans, and some of those exit plans mean you sell early even before you're done building. Like, one of these big institutions has been known to buy up the property and contract you to finish it. We could be 60% done, and they could come in and say, I want this so bad. I'm going to buy it from you, contract you to be done, so we could be out in 18 months. Now, I'm not advertising that, obviously, but this has happened in the past. We could be stabilized and ready to go within say 30 months and sell versus the 5 years. So there is $100 billion of institutional money that wants to buy build to rent, and none of them build. So we are coming in and building as fast as possible. Us syndicators, us builders, we can't build fast enough to fill the demand for the institution investors that want these properties.
Cool. No, I like it. That's really great. What questions haven't I asked you so far about this model or this strategy that you'd like to throw out there and talk about?
The one thing I really like about it is there's this big shift. Millennials really want to get out of apartments, right? Millennials is the largest population generation right now. And oddly enough, they are the family formation average age, don't quote me on this, but I was surprised it's like 35 or something. So millennials are starting families at 35. They want to get out of apartments. They may not be able to afford the houses, and there aren't that many starter homes out there to purchase, plus the housing prices. So where's the happy middle ground? It comes in at this build to rent. They get their own 4 walls, and then they still have the amenities, and it's nice to have someone who can maintain your home so you don't have to. Likewise, older generation, they want to get out of their house. They don't want to deal with the maintenance of their house. So they are like empty nesters are now downsizing. They're moving into build to rents, and they let the maintenance guy handle their maintenance.
That's smart. And they still have a house, right? Versus moving into an apartment where they feel like they're going backwards. And maybe they're with younger families, different communities, and it's a cool community sense. It makes perfect sense to me so far. Let me ask you, maybe the average rent for these houses, what do they usually rent for?
This Foley property, I want to, don't quote me on it again. I think it's around 2,100 to 2,300.
Okay.
Foley, Alabama, for 1,000 square foot to 1,500.
Yeah. And do they include utilities, or do the tenants pay the utilities?
Yeah, it'll be individually metered, so they'll pay the utilities.
Okay, that's good. So okay,
I mean, we could always change that too, but if you have your own dedicated 4 walls, it's really easy to have individual meters.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, individually metered, they're paying their own utilities. They're paying $2,100 to $2,300. Yeah, I mean, without seeing the numbers in front of me, right? The concept makes a whole lot of sense. Obviously, cost of labor and cost to do this, and on California, it's really tough to build, right?
Yeah, well, Yeah, not in California. That's why. So we partnered with this builder that lives in Alabama, and they really only build within 4 hour radius of where they live. So Foley, Alabama, it's right near Pensacola, Florida.
Mhm.
They know the municipalities, they know the people as they need to go in and get permits and get the zoning, right? They need to get those votes, and you gotta, the NIMBY culture is very, very alive right now. And for those of you who don't know NIMBY, it's not in my backyard. If there's a piece of land, there's a lot of people voting things down to get developed. So they know the area really well. They can target the appropriate land that they know that they can turn into a development.
I think that's great. Hey, by the way, if you want to learn more about Flint Jameson, you can go to is it vestuscapital.com? That's VESTUS capital.com. That's VESTUS capital.com. Find them on LinkedIn as well. Flint Jameson. So Flint, we're going to transition to some capital gains tax and geek out about tax, if that's okay.
Sweet. Let's do it.
All right. So I'm curious, Flint, in your experience, what's been the biggest frustration for yourself or clients or partners or investors when it comes to exiting highly appreciated assets and or maybe the 1031 exchange?
Comes to experience. I think maybe this is taking this to a slightly different topic, but we're starting to hear some investors, you get into these 5-year value add deals, and all of a sudden you get this huge chunk of money back. You may not want that money back, because now you've got a capital gain you have to deal with. And the best way to deal with it is you get it deployed in another property to get those accelerated depreciation out of it. Some of them say, I didn't want it back. I rather long-term hold and just cash flow. So I've noticed a lot of syndicators out there now looking for what I guess you can call a perpetuity plan, where it's just a long-term hold. And there's multiple ways to shake that, but yeah, investors are either looking for growth or long-term cash flow, and I think we as syndicators need to do good by our investors and see if we can't find some more unique ways to pull off some opportunities for them.
Yeah, absolutely. We call that just creating and preserving wealth through the exit plan, right? And so you're right. Cost segs are a great way to do that. If you sell something and you've got cap gains tax, if you turn around immediately and then reinvest, especially in this year, by the end of this year, it's still 100% bonus depreciation. Next year, 80%. There's ways to offset a large chunk of maybe your cap gains tax. But sometimes you don't have enough, right? Or the deal is so big, or you're not ready to buy that deal yet, right? And you're running out of time. That's where we do come in. We have something called a deferred sales trust, which eliminates the need for the 1031 exchange and allows these investors to defer the tax. And then from there, they can redeploy back into other deals with themselves or with partners, or just sit on the sidelines and be patient. And it kind of just freezes that tax or delays that tax, defers that tax until a time of which they actually start receiving payments from the trust. And it's a great way to build wealth, long-term cash flow, and also growth opportunities. You can go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com to learn more about that if anyone wants to learn. That being said, Flint, are you ready for the lightning round?
I hope so.
All right. Knowing what you know now, if you could go back to your 25-year-old self, what's the one golden nugget you make sure to tell yourself to do?
I teach yourself how to do finances, and not the institutional way, right? We've grown up in this world where the financial institutions just tell you, put all your money in the 401k, put it in jail for 30, 40 years, and only look at Wall Street as a quality diversified. We call that a quote unquote diversified within Wall Street investments. And I just, ever since I broke out of that mold, my eyes have opened.
Absolutely. Question number 2, what's the number one book you've recommended or gifted the most in the past year?
I really like The Go Giver. That's been my book for this year. Always provide value and you will get value back.
Great book. Love that book too. Question 3, what are you most curious about right now?
I think it's where the economy is going. What most investors that I'm seeing now, a lot of people are kind of holding back, sitting on cash. Inflation is eating away at your cash as you sit on it. millionaires and billionaires were made out of the 2008 recession. If you can find a deal now that cash flows in this market, in this economy with fixed rate, imagine how it's going to cash flow when the economy turns back around. So what I'm most interested is finding those cash flowing assets that are just going to pay off in spades in 2-3 years.
100%. Second to last question. What's the number one leadership quote or theme that you strive to live by?
Oh, leadership quote. I got one here on my board I wrote a long time ago. I haven't looked at it in a while. Raising money isn't about me. I'm providing an amazing opportunity for investors. So cycle back to everything I said earlier. I am now in a position where I can help other people. I can be a giver. I educate, I give, and I provide a lot of value.
Amazing. Last question, Flint. After all your success, helping all the people you've helped create and preserve more wealth with real estate investing, what's the number one habit that you practice to stay centered in your values and then stay encouraged to charge forward to reach new heights?
Number one habit. I'm bad with habits. So I'm still in a W-2 job. I work late nights and I work weekends. I would love to do the miracle morning, but because I work late nights, sometimes I need to just do sleep. My habits are not good. I will just straight up say that. I don't have any good habits, but I do try to work out and at least stay somewhat healthy.
Cool. Excellent. Hey, Flint, it's been more than a pleasure having you on the show. I want to encourage you to keep being an educator and help people, get out of the, the wealth at Wall Street and get into the wealth with real estate and investing, and keep doing what you're doing there to help people get some financial freedom. For our clients, for our listeners or your clients or anyone else who's listening who might want to get in touch with you, what's the best place for them to find you?
Yeah, the easiest is vestuscapital.com, VESTUS capital.com, or I'm super active on LinkedIn. Just find me, Flint Jameson.
Awesome. Hey, Flint, thanks for being on the show. And also want to thank our listeners for listening to an episode of the Capital Gains Tax Solutions podcast, where we believe most high net worth individuals and those who help them, they struggle with clarifying their capital gains tax deferral options. Not having a clear plan is the enemy, and using a proven tax deferral strategy such as the deferred sales trust is an amazing way for you to exit cryptocurrency, business, real estate, eliminate the need for 1031 exchange, defer millions of dollars of capital gains tax so you can invest into potentially deals like with Flint or other deals of your own, and be diversified, have some liquidity, but also go into opportunities to grow your wealth. If you want to learn more about that, you can get started with our building a capital gains tax exit plan by going to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. That's capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. Also look for the new book that's coming out. It's called Building a Tax Deferred Exit Strategy. And we have some cool people like Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank in the book and some other really smart commercial real estate people and financial people. So look for that book coming out real soon. It's called Building a Tax Deferred Exit Strategy. Hey, thanks so much for listening or watching this podcast. We so appreciate everyone out there. Please remember to rate, review, subscribe. That helps the algorithms and it helps to keep us, on front and stage of most